Thank you for joining today's panel. We have a great lineup of incredible panelists who are ecosystem builders. They work with a lot of different kinds of founders and from different perspectives. I'm Natalie. I'm a contributor at Taipei Blockchain Week. And I used to work with founders myself for 5 years, running an accelerator program, actually with Elisa, which was just the moderator right here. So I'd like to let the panelists do a small intro about themselves. Tina.
Hi, everyone. I am Tina from Cherubic Ventures. Cherubic is a seed fund. We do early stage investing into startups around the world. We have been around for 10 years. And we have about 200 portfolios. Some of them you might have heard of. One of them is Calm, which is the meditation app that I use very often. We're their seed investor. I'm very happy to be here, and thanks, 不知道, for inviting me. Thank you.
Hi everyone, this is Karen. Over the past 20 years, I've been working in mainland China with 2 startups, and fortunately 2 startups went IPO in NASDAQ. So last year I returned back to Taiwan, and now I'm an angel investor. I'm also joined few angel group, AVA, and other few Chinese angel club. So I'm happy here today and share my experience.
Hi everyone, my name is Hannah. I'm from Wepreneurs. I just founded Wepreneurs this year to facilitate business opportunities and resources exchange among women founders and women professionals. I came back to Taiwan, I think, in 2012, and soon I co-founded a social enterprise with my co-founders. And because of that, I went to win the Cartier Women's Initiative Award. And over the past 10 years, I've been mentoring women entrepreneurs when I can. And over the past 2 years, I've been serving as the Cartier Women's Initiative Award jury member. So if any of you wants to know more about the award, feel free to come and speak to me afterwards.
Great, thank you. So the first topic I wanted to talk about was insights about your specific role and how you work with different kinds of founders. So maybe, Karen, you can kick off helping founders maybe from an angel investor perspective.
Okay, so because I've been to the other side of the table as a founding team, so I think as an investor, angel investor now, I think there are some first of all is financial support, right? To provide a fund, and then, but I think mainly most of the Chinese founders, they are very good at product and technology. I realized that because the company is into the scaling up stage, they will probably need more support as how to manage a team, how to create a corporate culture. So that part, I think I can always support them. Another thing is coaching and mentorship. Yeah.
Great, and you mentioned a little bit about capital and financial support, of course. And Hannah, I guess you come from a perspective that is not just capital as well, providing a lot of resources for women founders. Do you want to share a little bit more about that experience?
Yeah, sure. Especially a couple of weeks ago, we just finished judging online for the Cartier Women's Initiative Award. I just call this CWI in short. So we see many courageous and outstanding female founders applying for this award. And it's mostly about social impact. So we're seeing women coming from all kinds of social impact background. For example, one woman was creating a solution for women who have removed one half of their breast because of the breast cancer. So she's designing lingerie or bra that are fitting for women who have lost part of their breast. Or we've also seen over the past couple of years, there's a surge of mental wellness apps in East Asia area because it's in many of the capitals is high stress working and also over the past couple of years, the COVID has put a lot of stress on the medical staff. So the surge of mental wellness app, and I've seen quite a few women founders who have established the app and the services because they have lost someone due to depression, anxiety, or because from a clinical psychologist background, there's not enough resource to serve women with such need. So in our network, besides the financial advice or like strategy-wise, because some people are great at like consultancy and strategic work, and some people are good at providing financial advice. I myself am providing connections for the East Asia area when I see fit, where I can combine women founders with technology background with women founders who have only social background and with a lack of technology. Yeah.
Great. Did you want to say more? Oh, okay. And Tina, I guess from a more VC perspective, I'm sure a lot of founders always ask you for the capital first, but you also have experience doing portfolio management. So how do you help founders?
So I think as an early stage investor, and a lot of time when we found founders, they don't have a product yet, so they're before product market fit. So when you're at that stage, you're really kind of like a nanny for the founder, for the company, and they really will ask you for like anything, everything. So hiring. I think for the past few years, one thing about the market that has changed is during COVID, there was a lot of free money, right? And there was a lot of momentum, enthusiasm about digital transformations. So all the startups that are helping people connect online, everything online was doing great. So all the founders are so happy, right? But then after COVID and after, I think, mid-2022, the market crashed. And everything crashed with that. And then the crypto market, the overall public market, stock market crashed. Then the founder was thrown into, all of a sudden, money was not accessible. Market was frozen. So not only that, so during that period, I think even till now, the past maybe 18 months have been really, really hard for a lot of the founders, right? They cannot raise any money. They have to lay off. So, it's really a lot of mental stress and just in general, very challenging for them to, like, how do you survive, right, mentally and operationally? So I think for us, what we had to do is keep reminding them, hey, how do you get creative with your capital? How do you, first of all, save yourself first, right? If you are just sad or depressed, you cannot operate a company. So we wanted to make sure the founder, has the right mentality about what's happening in the market. We're telling them, hey, this is not just happening to you. This is happening around the world to everybody. So you're not alone. And this is what you should do to prepare yourself. And this is what kind of resources that might be available. We can help you to get them. And then this is what you should do for your team, right? It could be layoff, could be all of that. So really kind of help them navigate through the environment, which is really changing so quickly now, like faster and faster every year with, the economy, with the geopolitical tension, right? So I think it's never been easier to start a company, right, with all these tools. But I think it also has been very challenging for any founder because the environment is changing by the day, and they have to really know how to act fast and navigate. And our job is to help them to get through that.
Yeah, it's a perfect segue into the next topic I wanted to talk about, which is some ecosystem insights and some trends and challenges you see. So maybe Hannah, you can kick off. Do you think it's getting better overall in helping women founders, or what kind of things do you look forward to, and what are some challenges that we still need to work on?
I think it is getting better, but very, very slowly. But it's better than none, right? So I have some amazing numbers to share with all of you, with Natalie and the audience. So please take a guess, because every year, for example, TechCrunch announced this number last year. Of all the seed funding stage companies, can you guess what is the percentage of all white males? What is the percentage of a company with all white males? getting funded at the seed stage? What is the percentage? Does anyone want to take a guess? 30? 80? Okay, awesome. It's 86%. 86%. Okay, now take a guess. If there's a woman in the leadership, what is the percentage of them getting funded at the seed stage? Take a guess. 1%. 20%. Okay. Any number? Huh? 3%. Okay. The number last year in 2022 is 1.9%. 1.9. And this number has kind of, shifted between 1% to 8%, depending on which year. So last year was particularly bad. But now imagine the percentage of colored men or colored women like us getting funded. It's something like along the lines of 0.001%. It's something like that. So the ecosystem is changing in the terms of there's a sense of gender lens investing. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's been promoted overseas, but I don't see so much in Taiwan. So gender lens investing is when you invest for financial returns, you also pay attention to the social benefits, to the economic empowerment put into women and girls. So we need more women investors like Karen and Tina. Please give them a round of applause to appreciate their work and for standing firm on their positions.
Great, thanks for sharing, Hannah. Those are some sad stats. Maybe, Tina, you can go ahead with what you were saying before. You were talking about the overall tech ecosystem before, but what do you see in the future? What can we look forward to overall in the tech ecosystem?
Right. So I think, what happened the past 2 years with during COVID, when everything, all the prices, valuation, everything went really, really high, and then after COVID, everything crashed. It created a huge gap between valuation, between the early stage, late stage valuation, between founder, investor expectation. I think it's getting a little bit better. So we're seeing a little bit more activity in the early stage and maybe a little bit in late stage as well. But I will say for next year or next few years, I will still advise any company to be very cautious, right? I think for first time, if you're raising fund for the first time, it's a little bit easier. If you're in AI or like ESG or all those really sexy hot trend, it may be a little bit better. But if you have been operating for a while, this may be your second time, third time, your Series A or Series B, you're kind of, whatever it is that you're doing are not as, sexy or trendy with the current narrative, then I will really advise you to be really more cautious and to make sure that you can, you don't overspend, or you want to make sure you can get to profitability, or just to operate with the mindset that liquidity or funding is not always that available. Although I guess if there's founders in the audience who are from Taiwan, there is some bright spot or opportunity, right? In Taiwan, we noticed that Japan is a destination that a lot of people founders have been going to. Japan as a country, they're desperately looking for innovation, and they want to invest in startups, including other countries' startups, right? So I think a lot of Taiwanese founders are actually finding success in going to Japan, and whether for market expansion, for fundraising. So that has been something really more encouraging than some other markets, right? Where we see like China, for example, is really sluggish right now, and Southeast Asia, like a lot of other markets are experiencing the correction. So the outlook is not so encouraging. But I think I think during bear market or when the market is not as promising, that's when you really find the best founder, right? Because when the market is really happy, everyone can be a founder because there's money everywhere. But then when the market is really tough, really tricky, really hard to navigate, that's when the exceptional founder, right? Only that type of founder can survive. So I think, the next few years, I think things will get a little bit better, but it's still not going to be so easy like when it was during COVID. Yeah, that's my take.
Thanks, Tina. And Karen, I know you were an operator before, worked a lot on the grounds in the startups, and then now you're on the other side, doing angel investing. So what kind of things are you seeing, maybe from before as more of the operating side and now as the investing side, and what do you see some of the challenges and trends for the future?
I will have to say out front that because I probably know more ecosystem in China, more than Taiwan. But for the past 2 years, I've realized that I think there are a few trends. I think after COVID, there are lots of talent people back to Taiwan from US, from China like myself. And most of them, either investor or founder, they've been operate in big markets. So they bring new ingredients and knowledge and experience back to this ecosystem. I think that is really positive side. So if any founder here in the audience, you might want to look for someone they experience big market and they have operation skills. Okay. Then secondly, I would say what Tina has mentioned AI, but what I feel is AI, you don't do AI because it's AI, it's a trend, but I think lots of Chinese company or startups, I think they will probably need to really apply AI as a fundamental skill. Okay, so bring more efficiency. As what I see, lots of startups in Taiwan, they recruit a lot of people. They think when they would need to grow, they recruit a lot of people. But I think the main thing is to really grow as efficiency or productivity, not like the numbers of employees. Okay, that is, different things. And then the third part, I would say what Hannah was mentioned is, I would call the impact investment. So ESG sustainability, some social justice issue. I haven't seen it in Taiwan yet, but because I also joined one of the Canadian angel group called 51%. And the reason they call 51% is because they want female investor dominated or, like be a bigger part. And I see a lot of female fund to invest in female founders, and also LGBT fund. You know what I mean? Like you see a lot of diversified fund now. So hopefully, and in Taiwan, that's what I always say, if you've been to start up and then you be part of the scale up process, and then you really realize how hard and how challenging to being a startup, and then you will become an investor or in the ecosystem to support that startup, and then if you're a female, that would be great. So I think it takes time, but I think slowly we'll get there.
Great, thank you, Karen. And so we talked a little bit about the ecosystem. I'd love to hear more about your stories and your experiences working with maybe a specific case or a specific founder of a specific company. Maybe Tina, you can kick us off. You mentioned earlier that you've worked with Calm and Hahao and iLife of some of your portfolios. Maybe you can share one story about them and interesting learning you learned from them.
Yeah, sure. I think Hahao is one of my first investment. I did that in 2016. And Hahao, for those of you who don't know what that is Coursera, but for Taiwan. So anyone can go on and learn anything you like. So I met the founder. The story is, when I first met the founder, even way before I invested in them, they were just kind of a couple years out of college, and they were doing something similar, but not exactly the same thing. And their idea was, hey, we're in college and we're starting to feel what we want to learn is not really well covered by the education system. So we want to create something that can, offer any kind of courses, and anyone can be a teacher, right? Actually, so that was how. But the first time when I met them, they came to me and say with exactly the exact same problem, but their first idea or product was called skill swapping, which is since you cannot learn something you want from the teacher, but can you learn something you want from the students? So they first create something called skill swapping for the student to exchange skill. So maybe I want to learn cooking, you want to learn Japanese, and we can swap, right? And so I met them. I was like, oh, that's very nice. It's very cute. But I'm not going to invest in you because it doesn't seem like you're going to make any money, right? So they're like, okay, thank you. But then 2 years later, they came back to me and said, hey, Tina, you remember when we had that idea, but then you told us that idea is not very good, so we pivot, and now we have this company called Haha, and is making money, and we have all these teachers. They're like a lot of them are students, and we have one student. He's in college, but he's teaching like painting or something, and he made like $100,000 US dollar in like a few months. So we're doing really great. And I was like, wow, that's great. So we will invest in you. So I thought, but at the time we were still their only like institutional investor, and it was only after another couple years they were able to grow to a certain scale that to convince other institutional investors to invest in them, right? So I thought, I guess obviously I'm very happy. I'm really close with the founder. So the story should be, even if your first idea doesn't attract investor, but if the pain point is real, right? I think everyone can relate to that. Oh, I don't think the school is really teaching all the stuff that we need to learn, right? That insight is real, but just the product might not be the right product yet. But just don't give up. Keep trying, keep pivoting, and maybe you will be successful if you just keep trying. So yeah.
Great, thank you, Tina. And Karen, maybe you can share about maybe one of the NASDAQ companies you worked with, or an angel investing company that you liked.
I think I would love to share my first company that I joined in Beijing. It's called QNAR, 去哪儿中文. And for people probably don't know what is it. It's actually a travel website. But at the beginning, we are a price comparison website. So compare the ticket price, a little bit like Kayak. What I learned for 3 lessons for this startup, and I think it still applies today. Not only like if you're working for a startup, but also as an investor. I think first thing is the crisis. If there is a crisis, there is opportunity. Why I say that is because I joined the company in 2008, and then in October 2008, there is a big Lehman Brothers crash, right? Bankruptcy, and they are actually one of our LP investor. So it's actually a huge crisis for a company, but because the bankruptcy and because the economy slowed down, the company is cutting the travel cost. So they spend a lot of time comparing the ticket price. And then we have like grow the traffic like in a week, like 10 times. So there's a crisis, there's opportunity. So you have to look at the bright side, right? The second thing I learned from that experience is as a founding team, because I think I'm like one of the first employee. As a company growth, you are not alone anymore. So you have to manage a huge team. And I think not only for a founding team, but for a founder or even an investor, you really have to know your weakness. Because what you have to do is really build a strong team, but not like learning everything by yourself. You cannot know anything. So what you have to do is know your weakness, be aware, and really hire someone really good at. So you have to be really take out your ego, you know? I think that's really hard. Especially the founder, what I see today, they will probably, I know I can do sales, I can do product, I can write the code. But be honestly, like if you have a team of 1,000 employees, you can't do anything. You have to really know what is your strength, and then you have to let go the other part and find really someone really talented to manage that. And that is the second thing. The third thing is, doing a startup is really hard. Like the first company I joined, we wait for 10 years to IPO. Second company is 8 years, right? So that's a really long journey, not only as a founder or founding team, but as an investor too. So you really need to have passion, right? And what I found is you really have to find that higher purpose. Why you do this, why you join this startup, and not only your passion, but that really higher purpose. Like the product, the service you provide, what do you really want to solve the problem, what kind of problem you really want to solve, or what kind of benefit you want to bring to this world. I think you really have to be really clear which that higher purpose had to be align your internal value, because that is really the drivers and energy. You know, when you wake up every day, why drive you to go to work? Because it's really hard. So I will share this 3 experience or takeaway from my experience.
Great, thank you, Karen. And how about you, Hannah? Do you want to share a little bit about a memorable experience you had working with a specific founder, a specific company, and what happened there?
Sure. So many women founders in our network are either social founders or not social founders. So the social founders are at a lower percentage. I would say probably about 10 to 20%. So when we work with social founders, we care a lot about their original intentions, and then their social impact, and then their execution. And then what follows is, the financial returns, how they're, performing otherwise. So I will specifically talk about the original intention. So your intentions do matter. Why do you want to start this social startup? So for example, Uri that I mentioned, the Korean founder in Korea. So she is a clinical psychologist herself. She's a counselor. And then when she went away for her own pregnancy, one of her clients couldn't reach her, and then later committed suicide when she needed help. So when Uri returned to work, she was informed by that woman's parents that they've lost their daughter. So she was really struck by this incident, and she decided to create an app that helps people to use the app when psychologists or psych counselors were not immediately available. So at least they have a way to release their emotions and get assessment and maybe get help. So similarly in Taiwan, like there's a woman, Linia in our network from Bamboo Technology, you might have heard of. So she's a she's a social worker herself, and then one night when she needed help, she couldn't get help. So as a social worker, so she has that training and background, and then she couldn't help herself. So she almost committed suicide, but then she admitted herself to the psych ward in NTU the next day. And then she stayed there for quite a bit of time just to recover. And also like Emily in China that I just mentioned, she herself is a breast cancer survivor, but she lost half of their breast. And then when she talked to other women who share similar problems, they couldn't get confidence. They feel ashamed, and some of them even were ashamed and then were insulted by their own family members, like the nasty mother-in-laws. So she created these bras specifically for breast cancer survivors to help them regain the confidence, to regain the beauty for them to go back to work. So when we work with these women, we ask them about their intentions. When we identify and when we agree with their intentions, we know where they're coming from, and we know that these intentions is going to carry them along when they pivot, when they do problem solving, when they do their strategy for the next 3 to 5 years to come. So then that's when we help them with the connections or referrals or strategy work, and those follow later. Yeah.
Great, thank you, Hannah. And I think we're coming up to time soon. Actually, my last question was about advice, and I think all of you just gave a lot of good advice to potential founders or people who want to come into the industry. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for the audience as well. And if there's any way people want to reach you, what would be the best way? Just talk to me, or do you guys want to share anything? Best way?
You can find me on LinkedIn. Just search Tina Chen, or yeah.
Yeah, you can also find me on LinkedIn, Karen T.
Well, through years of observing women entrepreneurship, I find that we need to encourage younger women to engage in startups, to engage in entrepreneurship, and through the use of technology. So recently, I've started a young women in tech boot camp for women to between 20 to 30 years old, who are mostly college students or graduate students, to apply. It's a free program. It's going to happen next year in March. And so please check out 2024 科技女青新创营 with these keywords, and then feel free to apply. Yeah.
Great, thank you. Thank you all.